Alright, what's up, fight fans? You're watching Not to Control MMA. I'm Dan. Today we're going to be talking about Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. It's going to be for the light heavyweight title. It's fixing to be the main event for UFC 259 in March. Adesanya does appear to be going into this one as quite a heavy favourite. He is coming up from middleweight, and I have heard interviews where he said he's not planning on putting on much weight. So it looks like Jan's definitely going to be the bigger of the two on the night. Alright, we'll talk about Adesanya first, then Blachowicz, then do a side-by-side, path to victory for both fighters, and then finally my pick. Alright, so Israel Adesanya, undefeated fighter, 20-0. I think 9 or 10 of them have been in the UFC as well. Fought some big names on his way to a title, Gastelum, where he won the interim. But before that, Marvin Vettori recently fought Hermansson. And Anderson Silva, obviously, who's, I think, held the record for the longest middleweight reign from 2009 to 13, something like that, I do forget. Alright, great long reach on this guy, 80-inch. He is coming up from middleweight, but he is both taller and has a longer reach than Blachowicz, who is an actual light heavyweight. So that's something to look out for. 15 knockouts and 5 decisions. No submissions on his record. Not much of a ground fighter, but that's by the by. His most recent fight was against Paulo Costa. This was set to be the fight of the year last year. Didn't quite turn out that way. Costa seemed a bit overwhelmed from the start. His showboating didn't really make any sense. Adesanya completely destroyed his lead leg with the kicks. Costa's knee had ballooned up, it was all red round there. And I think after the first 30 seconds, it just seemed like an Adesanya knockout wasn't too long away. Knockout is on the screen now. It came about mid to late second round. Dominant performance, but just I don't think what anyone was expecting to see at all there. But yeah, that was on Fight Island just recently, UFC 253 it was. Same way Jan fought Reyes. Okay, before that, going back to UFC 248, the last pay-per-view before the pandemic last year, Yoel Romero, Israel Adesanya, possibly one of the most boring title fights in recent memory. Wasn't helped by the fact it had Zhang Weili and Joanna just before it, which was one of the best title fights in recent memory. I don't want to blame Adesanya too much for this, because it was a lot of Yoel Romero standing still, not really wanting to engage. There'll be a little bit of it on the screen for you now. But I understood Romero's tactics with Adesanya's great counter-striking. He didn't want to get drawn in. And if you look at Romero's counters, few big overhands coming through, but not enough for him to win. Adesanya got a reasonable unanimous decision winning that one. But I think everyone just wants to forget about that more than anything. Alright, before that, when he unified the middleweight title, as Robert Whittaker, UFC 243 in Melbourne. I believe this had the highest live gate of all time, about 60,000, something like that. But yeah, he's a very close fight up until the knockout, I thought. Robert Whittaker's a great fighter. He does very well on the feet. If I was him, I'd have probably shot for a few more takedowns against someone like Adesanya. But Adesanya has shown great takedown defence as well. But yeah, solid it's on the screen for you now. Solid knockout for Adesanya, and great night out for him winning the middleweight championship. Alright, next up we'll talk about Jan Blachowicz. He won the light heavyweight title recently against Dominic Reyes. Same night Adesanya beat Costa at UFC 253. As I said earlier, although he is the natural light heavyweight, he's coming into this one shorter and with a shorter reach, both by 2 inches, and a slightly worse record at 27-8. He has got 9 knockouts and 10 submissions. 8 knockouts and 9 submissions in that. So I wouldn't. Yeah, he's a good fighter. Let's not forget. And over his career, he's probably fought better guys, if not at least to the same level as Adesanya. But he is a natural light heavyweight, which I think could make a difference in this fight. Okay, so the Reyes fight, where he won the title. Fantastic body kicks throughout this fight. It only went to late in the second round. But Reyes is I think it was the right side of Reyes' body had turned into one massive bruise by the end of it, and a great knockout on the counter, followed up with some ground and pound, and you saw what it meant to him after that. I think he's had a baby 2 months after that, so all very exciting for him at the time, and a good occasion. Right, before that, he fought Corey Anderson it was in February of 2020. Yeah, first round knockout in this one. This was a rematch. I believe Anderson won the first one. Can't remember how that came about, but as I recall, it was an Anderson win. Yeah, great knockout as Anderson was coming in. Sort of dropped his chin, Luke Rockhold style, and Blachowicz just caught him with a massive sort of diagonal hook, uppercut, whatever you want to call it. So, great performance. Okay, before that, though, it was Jacare at, when was that? November of 2019. Very close one, miss. You could well argue that he lost it. Not the most exciting fight at all. There was a lot of clinch work up against the cage, which you could well argue that Jacare dominated. I mean, I would suggest that. But Blachowicz probably got a bit better of a striking. Yeah, but Jacare looked it was a split decision win for Blachowicz. Jacare looked very upset at the end when he found out he lost. I can fully understand that. But it seemed the judges are more interested in the striking, which Blachowicz probably had the advantage in, to be fair. Alright, so we'll go for the side-by-side now. Striking, grappling, chin, gas tank, and level of opponent. Okay, so first off, striking. I don't see how we can't give this one to Adesanya. He's 15 knockouts out of 20 fights on his record, 75% finish rate. Yeah, very long, rangy striking, but with a lot of power behind it. 80-inch reach, but his legs are very long as well, so watch out for those kicks coming from all angles. Blachowicz is a great striker as well, got some very powerful knockouts, and it's worth mentioning that Blachowicz's knockouts have been against bigger guys as well. I appreciate Adesanya's fought the guys he's fought, but Blachowicz has knocked out bigger guys, obviously fighting at the light heavyweight division, but I think Adesanya's striking is probably a bit more technical, and he does have the power, but I think Blachowicz's powers, if not very close, maybe a little bit better. But overall in striking, I think Adesanya's got the advantage. Grappling, on the other hand, I'm going to give to Blachowicz. We've not seen a great deal of it recently, aggressive-wise. But against Jacare, he did very well defensively with his grappling. Corey Anderson, again, someone you'd expect to get taken down by a lot. He knocked him out in the first round. And it's worth mentioning Blachowicz does have 9 submissions on his record. I appreciate not too many of them have been recently. He's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. I'm not entirely sure who that's under, so I appreciate it's not all black belts are created equally. But I think Blachowicz has got a great advantage in the grappling. Having said that, though, Adesanya's takedown defence has been very good. Even if he does get taken down, people really struggle to hold him down. So we'll have to see how that goes. But Blachowicz has definitely got the edge in the grappling for me. Okay, chin. Adesanya on this one. And it's very close as well. Blachowicz is, like I say, he's taking shots from bigger guys than Adesanya has. But I was watching Adesanya Romero this morning, which was the worst 27 minutes of my life. And he ate, at the end of the first round he ate a massive overhand counter from Romero and didn't look rocked by it at all. Also, he's never been stopped, he's never been defeated at all. So Adesanya's got the advantage in this one. Right, gas tank, I'm going to say it's quite equal on this one. Both of them have got decent amounts of 5-round experience. Adesanya perhaps a little bit more, but Blachowicz, again, he's fought over 5 rounds a few times, most recently against Jacare, and that was a heavy wrestling fight, one that looked like it took a lot of energy out. Adesanya's most recent 5-round fight was against Yoel Romero, and that was a very technical, sort of slow-paced striking match. And before that, his last 5-rounder was Anderson Silva, who Yeah, who's 45 now and doesn't push for pace in the same way he used to. Okay, last but not least, notable opponents. Very close on this one. Blachowicz has fought such names as Reyes, Corey Anderson, Jacare, Luke Rockhold, Thiago Santos, Nikita Krylov, and Jared Cannonier. And then you've got Adesanya, Whittaker, Costa, Gastelum, Romero, Silva, and also Marvin Vittori. So I'm going to call it equal on that one. Both have fought very high-level guys. If you wanted to make an argument for Adesanya being a little bit better in the opponents, you could do. But I'm going to call it down the middle on this one. Alright, next up, path to victory. Do Adesanya first. I think he needs to keep Blachowicz at range with his long kicks. Catch him as he comes in with the counters, which Blachowicz has looked susceptible to in the past. And yeah, really try and keep the fight at his range, at the speed he wants, and do it that way. Okay, Blachowicz next. He needs to crowd in on, in my opinion, he needs to crowd in on Adesanya, get in close, get him up against the cage, throw a lot to the body, which he did very well against Reyes. A lot of leg kicks, slow him down, take away what he wants to do. And I know I've said that Adesanya's got a high takedown defence, but I think Blachowicz should shoot a lot of takedowns. I think that's his path to victory is definitely on the floor, either with ground and pound or with a submission attempt. But I think if the fight goes the distance, I think Blachowicz probably fades a bit quicker than Adesanya does there. Okay, my pick for the fight, I'm going to go Adesanya by fourth round knockout, I think. I think Blachowicz will fare a lot better than Costa did, purely because I think Costa underestimated Adesanya a lot, and I don't think that really helped him at all. But I think Blachowicz will play more sensibly. He won't do a showboating, he's not that sort of guy. He won't take shots to prove he can take them, but he will be very effective. But I can see as he clipping in with something as the fight progresses, as we fall into a bit of a rhythm, he'll come out with something a bit unorthodox, and that's how he'll get the win. Okay, fight fans, that'll wrap us up for today. Please like and subscribe, go over and follow me on Instagram. You've been watching Octagon Control MMA, and we'll see you tomorrow.